For Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I am Boser, and this is your Monday Night Geek Out Sesh. What's going on, guys? I hope you had a wonderful Monday. I'm going to scooch this up a skosh. Yes, I did go blonde. You may applaud in the chat or boo. I don't care how you feel about it. I wanted to mix it up because while I have hair, why not? I haven't played with it enough in my young-ish years. So we're taking advantage. But I'm so glad you're here joining us, whether it's here live on the Twitch and YouTube chat on a Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard live, or maybe you're watching this back on Twitch or YouTube or podcast. If you are, give us a comment. Let us know. It's good to have you here. Come join us one day, like Alec here in the chat. And I think we're going to have some other people pop in. So if you're here in the chat, let us know. Say hi, because this is meant to be a beautiful conversation amongst creators, amongst those who appreciate the finer geeky things in life, like we do here at FGBG. But how are you? Tell me about your day. How has your week been since our last Geek Out Sesh with the Mystic Con? Did you get your tickets to Mystic Con? I know they dropped some merch today, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out last week's Geek Out Sesh. Brand new TTRPG Con happening in Vista, California later this year in October. You're going to want to check it out. It's with our friends Heroes of Evermore and the Forever DM. It was a great time. You need to be part of it. But tonight, we are here for an entirely different reason. Hang tight. I did just lose my guess. I do have my amazing guest back with us. So we're going to bring him in right away because I don't want anything else to get in the way. And honestly, I'm just tired of not talking with him. This guy is so cool. If you're not familiar with my guest tonight, you very much will be very soon. And if you're an OG fan of FGBG, then you will remember TrisRex from literally 2 years ago. This guy came back on the channel for kind of a touch base, find out what he's been up to the last 2 years. And if you were at C2E2 this past month, then I'm sure you saw his booth because it was only the singular giant ass queen alien on the con floor. You could not miss it. Literally could see it from anywhere in the con floor. This thing was so big. And he's just been cooking up so many amazing things since his last Geek Out Sesh. And I can't wait to dig into more of what he's been doing because this guy doesn't know how to rest. He doesn't know how to settle down. And I'm hoping to gain a little insight and maybe inspiration and just hang out with my friend, Tris. So please give it up for the creator, the father of monsters himself, TrisRex Studios!
What's going on, y'all? How you doing? How you doing? I got my kid.
It's him. Me. It's really him. Oh, you got your baby?
Yeah, it's my little baby right here. What's going on, y'all? Thank you for having me back. It's been so...
She has your eyes.
So long. Yeah. That nice little haze, you know? I got a lot of...
Well, T is in the chat. Like I said before, if anybody wasn't able to join us the first 5 seconds of the stream before it crashed, T really wanted to be here to hang out, but he's not feeling well, so show him some love. But also, Heroes of Evermore, Morgan from last week is here to join us too. We got everybody here hanging out because when TrisRex is on the docket, people show the hell up.
Oh yeah, thankfully. I am thankful for that.
Dude, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I started off a little sluggish. I had to get in the gym.
Mondays are hard.
Yeah.
Someone's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, but it's good, man. It was a good day. It was nice outside. It ended with a thunderstorm. Got some work done, and
that storm hit you too, huh?
You said what now? Oh yeah,
That storm hit you too, huh?
yeah. It
Yeah,
was
because we're not
a
too far
very
from each
quick
other.
and rough. Yeah, and we don't get too many like bad storms in the city, but every once in a while we get one that you can remember.
Well, on this side of the lake, they call it the lake effect, and
Mm-hmm.
everything blows over only east, apparently, into our world. And Chicago just like, wow, it's so nice. Meanwhile, we're fighting for our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, first
that's
question of
the
the
lake
night.
effect.
Here's of Evermore says, right when he birthed Alien, was it when he had a stomach bug?
Boom. Yeah, yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. The stomach. I haven't heard that one. That's good. That's good. I've heard a lot of
Well,
good chest
put that in
burster
your head.
puns. A lot of good chest burster puns, but that is a good one. I gotta write that down.
Now that Morgan is a dad, they just come naturally to him. But Tris, like I said in the intro, you were on 2 years ago. It's been a minute since you were last in. We've been in touch. Like you and I kind of keep in touch every so often, and especially anytime we're at C2E2, we got to stop by and see you. Got to stop by and see your booth. But for anybody that isn't yet familiar with the name TrisRex, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do as a geek.
Yes, so I mean, long story short, I'm a monster maker, practical effects enthusiast. I like to build creatures of all sizes. Most of the time, they're big nowadays or the medium size, just because of the project that I'm working on, Aliens Resurgence, for the Hive, which is my first film. It's a short film,
We'll get to it.
and it's a nightmare more than a film. But I'm gonna save that part. I don't want to give you too much. I gotta keep you watching, okay?
Well, I'm
And
interested.
just being Tris, you know. I got tending to the lizards and my lovely wife, bumping around the house and just building and building and building and building and just being happy. Just being
What is
happy,
it?
man.
Is that what it means to be Tris? Just like in your vibe, in your lane, moisturized, doing your thing.
Moisturized and haunted, haunted and moisturized, equally haunted and moisturized and unbothered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I'm a mix of a lot of things. The creative, the analytical, the different processes I go through from project to project or creature to creature or even doing armor and all that other stuff. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, because what you create has really evolved over the years. I know the last time that you were on, we focused a lot more on the the cosplays that you were physically wearing, like your Swamp
Hmm.
Thing was amazing.
Yeah.
And anybody that missed the last Geek Out Sesh, it's in the channel. Scroll back and also use Command Monsters to get links to all of Triss's stuff and find his old posts about those amazing, incredible, like what's the Batman one?
Man Bat or
Man
Hellbat?
Bat. Now both of them
Yeah.
are epic. They're huge, like armor or like real practical effects. It was insane. But since then, you've kind of changed your trajectory a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um I've gone through a lot of changes, mainly because I really have a love for puppets. And that was one of the things that I wanted to exercise more than just being able to put on a suit. Because I'm only 5'11" in like 245, 250 ish, right? I can only do so much. But when you're talking about puppets, you don't necessarily have to think in a human capacity. So when I did the first Xenomorph of 2022, the Royal Guard, it just opened up a level of freedom that I never felt before. And I just felt like, okay, so anything is possible now. And it just harkens back to my love for cinema. It all started with Aliens, Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
Predator, with the big pumpkin head, big mechanical suits and
Yes.
people in monster suits. So I'm a Stan Winston kid at the end of the day, so I felt like this was all leading up to this. Because even when I was doing my DC Comics run, I always knew I had a Xenomorph in mind. I didn't know it would be this many. I didn't know they
Oh,
would be that big.
that big.
But I always had a xenomorph in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I've always been attracted to your content, is because I too really love that era of horror, and I get sad as I see movies in general, but especially the horror genre, just move and lean in more and more on CGI, which is an art form in and
Yeah.
of itself. But I miss that practical effects, and then when I see the things you're making, it's so much fun to see that like you are keeping that art form alive. You and so many others, but I'm just really a big fan of
Yeah.
yours. No, fuck the rest.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, practical is just something. It's kind of like being I always compare it to being like a jazz player. It's super old school. You're a throwback. But I'm just trying to find new ways to make it popular again and make it pop. I think doing it with a lot of the techniques that I learned from starting out in cosplay and stuff is the one change and the one thing that I was able to really like put in my toolbox. 'Cause I didn't want to let all of the foam fabrication work and stuff just like go away, right? Because a lot
Right.
of those things are like super transferable when it just comes to making big creatures and getting a little bit more out of them. When you mix it with latex and different elastics and things of that nature. So just trying to like blend everything together because I'm a mix of that old school practical effect stuff with like some of the modern uh, things of cosplay, like foam clays, all this other new
Huh.
cool stuff like foam dials and things of that nature. So just blending the two together to get something new.
And you've got the perfect brain for all of this. Like, y'all, you don't get to see all the messages that I message Tris all the time. But whenever I have an issue, like there was one time in my theater career where I had a puzzle and I couldn't figure it out. And I came to you because I knew that
Yeah,
your brain like knows no limits. Like you've now taught yourself that with the right amount of time and materials, fuck, you can do anything.
yeah.
And so I
I'm the Batman with
wanted,
foam in my hand.
yes,
You give me prep
yes,
time, it's done. It's
you can do
done.
anything. And it's so
Yeah,
cool
man.
that way. And so that's why I've just been like watching you evolve essentially from the last couple years. Like you've gone from the cosplay to the massive cosplays to now the puppets to the massive puppets. Like right behind you, what are we
Yeah.
looking at?
That's my baby's crown. This is the Empress, the big queen alien that was on the floor for C2E2, and she's the queen of the movie. So that's her crown right there. And I was just doing some touch ups, so I just had her behind me and just like tinkering around underneath, making sure everything's tight. Cause she got the diva got some big scenes coming up. So I'm just trying to make sure she's warmed up and ready to go. But she's
You
good.
can't stop tinkering, can you?
What was that?
You just can't stop tinkering.
Oh no, I got it. It's always something. And that's the thing about like making monsters and like creations of this size. It's always gonna be something that you know, you gotta fix or like touch up because they big. They get nicks and bruises and stuff. And I always want to keep them up to just keep them up. And that's the good
Now,
part about foam is you could always just like boom, 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 fix it right then and there,
yeah,
add something to it, and you're good to go.
you can always fix it. Now, I know that we can't fully move around the Empress in your space. So do you mind if I show some pictures on your Instagram?
Cool.
And so
Oh
people
yes.
get the real scope.
Yeah. Baby girl right there.
So this doesn't even do it credit because like it's big, you can tell it's big, but I need to get oh my god, Svengoolie. Um
That one, if you go up a little bit
this one.
to the right, yeah, that's the one.
Look at this.
I got some good shots in that one. That one and the Spinguli, because that was the latest C2E2.
This is what you walked around and shout out if you were on the con floor and you walked past this. Maybe you got slime, maybe you had a face what is it called? Face sucker?
Face hugger,
Hugger.
face sucker.
Look how big this
Kind
thing
of thing.
is.
That's the first baby right there. That's the royal guard.
And
That's Big Mama.
Watch it. Look at this. It's towers. It's epic. It's huge.
Yeah, that's my baby right there.
Look, you already got some commissions in the chat. He needs to build something for Mysticon.
Hey, I'm all for it. I am all for it.
Heroes, use command monsters.
Heroes.
You have his contact there. Mysticon is the new TTRPG con happening in California. I mentioned at the start of the stream, and they're brand new first year, but they're good friends of ours too. So we want to support. We cannot support the way that you can support.
And the Spenguli one, that one is really good too.
That's legit Spenguli.
Yeah.
That's wild. How come he hasn't aged a day?
I don't know. The spookiness, the makeup, the hat, the hair. He's just living right. He's just living right, you know?
He's in his lane, moisturized.
Haunted and highly favored. Moisturized and bothered.
So last time, like I said, we talked a little more about your cosplays. You had just competed in the Crown Championship of Cosplays shortly before our Geek Out Sesh. But since then, you haven't been competing so much in that realm. You've been focusing on these kinds of things. So give us like a quick 2-year recap on the kinds of things you've been working on and how you've evolved since then.
Yeah, so basically in that 2 years, like I said, when I was thinking about the Xenomorph, the story I wanted to tell, there was no way I could tell you that story just by display or exhibit, but it was to force myself to learn how to direct, be a cinematographer, write scripts, and make a movie to show you what I mean. Because the only way I could tell you the stories and show you exactly what I mean now is just doing it by film. So the difference between the Tristian that wanted to compete and all this other stuff, I felt like I wasn't wasn't understood at that time because there was so much more I had to show you. That was like only one piece of the tip of the iceberg, but there was so many more things that I wanted to show, and so many things that I still want to show today. I feel like I've done nothing compared to like the goals that I want to, because some of my goals just scare the shit out of me, which is good. I love it. If the goal don't scare you, and if you don't know how to accomplish it, then it might not be a big enough goal. But that's not for everybody. Back to the question. So a lot has happened, that past 2 years, just thinking about more so the story. I remember we were talking about Scarecrow, the crane.
Yeah.
That was the one that I was getting ready to drop. And it was one of those things where it's like, I really want to tell this story, but it's only so much I could do just in 2D or just wearing the actual suit. So a lot of my mind has changed, and I'm reverting even back further to what my love for all of this stuff, where it came from. And that's films, monster movies, those video games with big monsters in them, comic books, action figures, like you see me with the action figures and things of this nature. And just really trying to being able to take it back to those days, but with a new type of feel. And telling the stories that we as the fans really want to hear, because one of the things that drives my art all the time is that I am a die-hard fan when it comes to like the things that I'm into. Like I know all of the comic books, all of the actors, all of the other stuff. I just study it. And this is me just I would say the biggest change is me just letting out all those other talents and growing those other skills at the same time.
So it's like 2 years ago, or at least a few years ago, you had all these stories within you and you had all these skills, and you just almost like a debutante, like you just needed to like enter into the scene to show like, look, I'm here. I've got something, maybe convincing yourself a little bit. But now you don't need convinced. You know that there's no challenge that you can't conquer as long as you get enough time. And so now you're pushing that envelope. You're like, what the fuck else can we do?
And less convincing, but being able to show it the right way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I really want to be able to take people on that ride. And I was like, you know, I always wanted to make films, so it's like this should be my first short film. You know, just make it a aliens tribute. You know, give something that the fans haven't seen before, but also make it where it's like things that I know I want to watch. You know, because I create in a very like selfish way, and it's a way that I know I'm always being true to myself. And me being true to myself is also
Yeah.
being true to the fans, because that's why y'all have grown to like me and love me, is because I want to give you something that you can't see on the big screen.
And because you're a fan first, like when
Yes.
you are serving your own needs, you can be sure that they're not just yours. Like they are
Oh
on
yes.
behalf of the entire fandom. And that's why what you do succeeds, because you're not ever like thinking about it as like, how do I make a bunch of money off of this? You're thinking,
Oh yeah.
what do I need? And by fulfilling that, everybody comes along right there with you.
If it was just about Trish, this would have been over a long time ago. Yeah, it got to be about something bigger, and I'm waving a flag for so many genres, so many groups of people, and just like for the city of Chicago, and for a lot of things and people that want to aspire to do something. It might not even be just art. It might be even being a chef or a data analyst like me, or just something else, just wanting to be great at something. And one of the things that I always, think about is just like, hey man, you got the power to do it. So don't don't sit back and let your powers go to waste. You gotta hop to it. And
Right.
I've been able to create for a lot of other people and give other people opportunities and bring them along on things and collaborate. It's been fun. It's been fun.
I love it. And T, he's co-hosting from. So he says, I create in a very selfish way, is how it should be. It's your story. It's your tale to tell. Authenticity can be seen when you geek out loud like you are.
Oh yes, oh yes. T is right on the money. And because at the end of the day, it has to be for you. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be, like every once in a while we get the, oh, you should do it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I'm not really into that. Or, I get suggestions and everything. But when you love it, there is no limit you will go. When you're really that passionate about what you're creating, whether it's big, little, I don't care if you're building a dang bird feeder. When you love it, you're
Right.
gonna go all in.
And a kind of unrelated, but very much related in the same way. Um, I've had a lot of kids that I've worked with over my years, and usually in regard with theater, and they're like, what should I major in? Like, should I do like what I'm passionate about, or should I play it safe and get like the business degree? And the only advice I can give them is exactly what you just said, is I encourage you to pursue the passion, because when things get hard, and they will get hard,
Oh
that
yeah,
passion is going to be the thing that pulls you through and keeps you excited and helps you figure out how to get through the next step. If you're just calling it in and just doing it for the money, like you're going to give up and you're not going to give a shit.
yeah.
So follow your
And the,
passion every time.
and the art will suffer. The art, what you're passionate about, or quote
Yeah.
unquote passionate about, will suffer. So
Yeah.
just trying to keep it innocent, trying to keep it still innocent. That's the key.
I love that you haven't lost that in a couple of years. I know I didn't think you would, but it's just so
Nah,
nice to see that you are
I'm a
still the same
kid,
Tris
man.
you were a few years ago when we met. And even on the con, like I love T and I just love coming up and seeing you at your booth, because it just feels like old friends
Yeah, that's
every time.
exactly what it is. Because when you see me at the con like C2E2, or even like the ones I've been traveling now to, it's kind of like a mini holiday. You get to see your friends from all over the globe that you've been chatting with and on Instagram and commenting back and forth, and you're all under the same roof. So it is like, just a kickback. You seeing your friends and like meeting people that you've been talking to for years for the first
Right.
time. And that's one of the most beautiful things about conventions, bro. It's just like getting a
I love the
chance to
con.
meet your friends from miles and miles away for the first time, and it just feels like y'all just been knowing each other for forever.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
I love it. That's why I love C2E2. It feels like a home con for me, because it's
Oh
the biggest
yeah,
con closest to us. But still, it's got like the majority of the other cosplayers and content creators that we've come to be able to know in the last 5 years. And it's the best thing. T wants to know, are you coming to Grand Rapids?
I don't have a plan for it just yet, but never say never. Never say never.
So how was it at C2E2 and the other cons when you get to set up the big exhibit, have the Empress up there? Like, what kind of things you're hearing? What kind of things you're experiencing in that different level? It's not the Crown Championships of cosplay. It's like completely different monster, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's a night and day experience. You know, when I'm at C2E2, it's more so about the exhibition and the display, right? I try to do that at a lower level when I'm traveling because I can't, bring my level of xenomorphs that I would like. So I tend to use the face huggers, all of the chest bursters, videos, things of that nature. But the actual love and camaraderie and like that whole like meeting everybody feeling is the same. And a lot of the people that know me okay, I knew you wasn't going to be able to bring something, that on a plane. So they already know. But C2E2 is totally different. C2E2 is a holiday. I see people that I haven't seen since kindergarten, or see people, like I said, I had a homie that I met all the way from South Africa last year, and I just met, one of my other homies from India this year, and it's just cool. Even Evil Ted came out, and that's like, if you all know me, that's like one of my heroes, I guess you could say, because he really got me into foam fabrication as well as cosplay. So, even getting a chance to meet him for the first time, it's a totally different thing. But as far as like, competing, setting up a booth, all that other stuff, the Aliens Resurgence and then the Alien Day, which was even bigger than 2023, it's all about operations, making sure everything is looking right. But this year, I want to bring everybody closer. Let them get in with the aliens. Let them have a chest burster. This year was all about the fans.
Yeah, you had a lot more.
It was all about the fans. Yeah,
get into an experience and like basically be immersed in. So that was really cool to see.
I wanted this year was. I'm like, nah. I want all my fans, and I want all of the alien people to have their fun. Go have at it, And that, just seeing the smiles on their faces, like some of the pictures that you were going through, it just warmed my heart. It's a totally different feeling. It's a totally different feeling, man. I can't explain it. You just gotta be there, and you've been there for all of it, so you know the feeling on the floor.
Yeah.
When surrounding the exhibit and the booth, and it's a very hyped. It's a very good feeling.
And even if I can speak on your energy at that moment, like every time we've seen you at C2E2 after you set up all the exhibit, you look completely wiped, but in the best fucking way. Like you are exhausted, but like you wouldn't change a thing, and you're just like living your best life. And I just love to see it. And your wife is there. Sometimes your mom is there. And you'd always have this huge crowd of people. But you always make time to like come speak to us, which always is a really great feeling because that's just who you are.
Yeah, I'm always gonna make time if I can. Every once in a while things happen. The team is growing now, so sometimes I gotta, be operations manager and Tristian, so it's all good. But white, yes, it is a task getting all of that first logistically to McCormick, then getting everything put together. And, I'm on there's certain time constraints too, so I got to work a little harder than usual. But luckily, I have a friend that's been helping us out, and she's been just like the Nightwing to my Batman, pretty much. And she's just been like knocking everything out, so it's cool.
Can I ask
white in a good way?
Can I ask the real about loading that into C2E2? Like, what is the actual process when you bring a monster like that big? What's that even look like? How do you get it in there?
Oh yeah, so basically all of them I'll use this. They all come together, come apart in this case, like head, neck, sometimes even the dorsals, chest, torso. And what I do is I wrap them up, all of the finer pieces like the teeth and the claws and things of that nature. Kind of put those in like some bubble wrap or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Put them real close together so the movers won't, hurt them or anything. And then I just put them in like these big crates, or like the queen stand actually holds all of the other xenomorph parts. So her stand is actually like storage for travel as well.
Oh,
So it
nice.
was a little bit of a, one of those.
Uh-huh.
So it's cool. It's not as bad as you would think. They're just big, and it's not like they're heavy. They're light because they're made out of foam and PVC. I would say the heaviest things, of course, would be their armature, which is made out of 2x4s and wood and nails and some of the biggest wheels you can find. So that's where all of the weight goes, just to keep them up. But other than that, it's not that bad.
What's the time frame of like starting load in to being completely set up?
You mean like from loading, getting them out the studio?
Yeah.
That's a whole day. That's a whole 8 hour plus day. That's longer than 8 hours. I mean, the reason why it was so easy and like the reason why I was stress free this year is because I had movers.
You didn't try
I
to do
had
it yourself.
movers. I didn't try to do it myself.
Smart.
And I also have my buddy that I was telling you about, and yeah, yeah, she saved the day. She saved the day.
Yeah, you got to
And then
save
when my
your
wife
energy for
comes,
other things.
yeah, yeah, and then like on the days of the cons, my wife pretty much takes over and just let me go play around and be my big old kid self. So between, the wife, which is always the backbone and the rock of the studio, having that number two person to be able to help me out with some of the operational and logistics stuff, yeah, it's good. But that's a full 8 hour day. That's a lunch and dinner type situation right there.
That's commitment to your craft, dude.
That's the only way I could do it.
Yeah.
That's the only way, And nobody else gonna do it for me, so it's like, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. But I love that you never forget the support. Like you keep mentioning your wife and this Nightwing person.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be so much. The fact that like this could be a pipe dream. This could be like something that you've always been excited about, but you maybe didn't have that support and it never existed, only in your mind. But it's so nice that you are supported, especially by like your wife that way. I love that you guys are a team that way. She's in the jumpsuit every time, and she's like right
Mama
there
Rex
in
is
it.
ready. That's the Mama Rex. That's the mama of the monsters. But yeah, she's always like game and on it. And it just started just me and her, just talking on the couch, what if scenarios, watching different movies, playing games together, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Which is how you get some of these big elaborate concepts and weird what if type of moments. But I would say, just going back to the 2 years thing, the biggest change is that I have a team of people now that really care and love the mission, and really care about me as a person, regardless if I'm making movies or doing anything. I got some people like even in the film that I've been knowing since. Whew, it's been a while. It's been a while. So I got some really good people helping me out. So I might create these things alone, but when it comes to setup and logistics and being able to run a display / attraction at C2E2, I can't do that alone. I need my people. That's why I say for the hive. For the hive is those people.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I protect, and that's who protects me.
And that speaks a lot to the culture that you created with your art, essentially. If it wasn't you, if you weren't the Tris that you are, I'm sure that people wouldn't be banded behind you so strongly. But it's that awesome passion that you have. It's a creativity, and it's that genuine care for those around you that I'm sure it's infectious. They get excited. Like, I want to come and work for you just by hanging out with you here. I'm like, what do you need?
Hey, all of the help. I'm accepting all help because it really takes a village. It takes a village and more to try to pull this shit off.
I bet.
And I'm just getting warmed up. So it's like, yeah, having that help is very much so needed. Very much so needed. And it's cool because I could be able to teach and like, hey, here's how I did this, and help people with other stuff that
Yeah.
they've been wanting to get taken care of, or they want to learn to pick up. So if it's all about me, then you know, save your money. It's not gonna be long. You're not gonna get far, but if you could, make it about other people and build that team to come along for the ride with you, then yeah, you can go the distance.
Next year, tap us in. I want to see how these things go together.
Okay, okay, be ready to work. Have your gym shoes, your sweatpants ready. You
You
know,
got it.
you might get a little slime on you, but you'll be all right.
Oh, yeah. Slime me, daddy.
Oh yes, you about to get slimed.
Okay, well, now you keep talking about this movie, and I got to
Yes.
know some more details.
So there was one night I was always dreaming about monsters and things, right? Because I have this habit of scrolling Pinterest is like one of the last things I try to do. Or like the creature that I'm working on or whatever I'm working on, I try to imprint it in my mind. Just so even when I'm asleep I can go ahead and see it.
So this guy never stops. Got it. Okay.
Nah. I come up with a lot of solutions in my dreams too, but that's a whole TED talk for another situation. But I had this really freaky and otherworld dream of what it was like to actually be in a xenomorph hive. Because in Aliens, the 1986 film, you only see it in a couple of scenes, and you only could go to like a certain level before that was it. You saw the entrance, you went through like maybe a couple tunnels with the Marines, but you didn't really step like center into the hive until the very end of the movie
Mm-hmm.
when you got into the Queen's chamber when she was laying the overmores.
Mm-hmm.
But you see all of those tunnels and all of those other things that they had to hive resin. In that dream, I was able to see that. And it was like a very weird out of body experience. And I was able to see and feel things in that dream that I couldn't explain until I started to make my own xenomorph and own face huggers and my own hive resins because I try to like wake up and write down as much as possible or draw it because it looked very different, but it looked spot on to what I was able to show at C2E2. So the movie is going to be able to take you places that you haven't necessarily gone in the big screen, but when it comes to video games, comic books, a lot of this stuff is going to sound familiar. Even with the action figures, a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
things are going to look familiar. And basically, what I'm trying to do is not trying. What we're doing is we're telling you a aliens Elseworld story, but it's going to take like place like 20, 30 years after the events of what happened in 1986, which was 2179. So you're going to see
Okay.
familiar faces. Some of the names might look familiar. You might hear a couple of things about the company and things that has happened. So the movie is going to be very, very interesting. It's really a POV film that begs you to question how far you'll go for the people and things that you love. So when I say for the hive, it has a totally different meaning. It has a
Yeah,
totally
I
different
bet.
meaning. Yeah, it's
Okay.
trippy. It's trippy. But if you like the art and if you're a fan of mine already, it's pretty much TrisRex in movie form. So you're gonna love it.
Where are
It's a
you
couple of clips
shooting
on it.
this thing?
Oh, it's gonna be shot. It's shot in my backyard.
And it's just like all your sets and your special effects.
So basically I built this big old tent that covers the top and side of the yard. And
Okay.
luckily
The neighbors think you have a
I'm
meth lab, by the way.
nah they they know what I do though.
Oh,
So
good, good, good.
no mess just yet.
Just yet.
But
Just yet.
it's covering the whole yard, and luckily I've been able to like kind of think about some of the stuff that I learned in theater when I was doing set design.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to kind of bring that into the fold too. So that's another thing that I think we might have touched on in my last interview, but my set design is just like going up 10x
I
because
bet.
each scene has a different set that we're building and breaking
Yeah.
down and moving things around for. So it's been fun. It has
Dude, we're gonna
been
swap some
so
notes.
fun. Oh yeah, I got you.
You
I
help me.
got you.
You help me with those Squidward legs. Maybe I can help you with some of the sets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're shooting this whole thing in basically a tent in your backyard.
Mhm. And then I got the alley, a couple other areas too. But it's mostly gonna be taking place in this mining area, and which is good for a backyard pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
And can I ask what are you shooting it with?
So I'm just shooting it on the iPhone. Shooting it on
No
the
way.
iPhone now. And I got a lot of different lenses and gear from Smart Rig as
Okay.
well as Newer. They got some stuff that you could like hook up to your phone as far as like different lenses and different scopes. You can do some crazy stuff
Dude,
when it comes to
Apple's
the
gonna be
iPhone.
coming to you for like making a commercial. This film shot
Made on the
on my
iPhone.
iPhone. Yeah.
Made on the iPhone. And they have those festivals too where they have like a lot of films that were just shot on iPhone.
Oh yeah.
You'll be surprised what you could do.
Do you plan to submit this film once it's ready?
Uh Probably so. I probably will.
Because why not?
Like, well, I mean, why not? It's what happens when you get a lot of your friends together and you get in the backyard and you get your phone monsters out and just start having fun.
And how long will this film be once it's completed?
As of right now, I don't have a definite runtime, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be longer than
Solid short
15,
film.
20 minutes. It's going to be a nice, that's why I call it a nightmare. It's not going to be super long. It's just going to just enough. So when you wake up and you're like, huh, what the hell just happened?
Uh-huh. I love T. He's co-hosting from the sidelines, and like literally we're on the same page because that's exactly what I'm wondering. He asked, are there legal gymnastics that need to be done with the IP like Alien? Like, are you running into copyright things, or
So
are you getting on board with them?
actually, because it's a fan film, I'm good. I'm not trying to make any money from it.
Oh,
This is
okay.
just a TrisRex preview and a TrisRex version of Aliens. I'm not trying to make any money from it or anything.
Okay.
Would I hop on board with them if they ready? So it's happening.
And like in our private discussions, we've talked about this a lot, that like one day you would love to get tapped into I guess the more mainstream Hollywood with your special effects, but you're not hunting them down. You're going to let them come to you.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. I mean, like since we last spoke, I did do a commission for a smaller film, but it's for a sci-fi film, and it's this big lizard creature. He's like this big hulking lizard brute.
Dude!
He's so dope, and he reminds me a lot of my lizards too.
Oh, yeah?
Because I looked at them for inspiration when it comes to that. So I've been letting people find me, and the cool part is a lot of people that have been finding me and that I've been sending my work to have been like some of the creators that worked on the 1986 film Alien, or like my buddy Steve Wang, who was he created the look of the Guyver as well as the Predator. He worked with Stan Winston, so a lot of
No
them
way.
really like the work. Yeah, yeah. So I'm
Dude!
just sticking to myself right now until the time is right. But I'm always open, I'm always one email or one call away.
No,
But
but like you're literally doing it. Like this is what you hoped would happen or dreamed would happen. It's literally happening. Your work is
yeah,
attracting your fucking heroes.
yeah. And
That's
that's the
amazing,
weird.
Tris.
It's weird. It's a very surreal feeling. It's a very surreal feeling. But I'll never get over it, and I'll never take it for granted, though. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make sure it's like, oh shit, they know my work, they love it, now they know me. But I also want to give them their flowers at the same time, just to make sure they know, like, hey, that shit didn't fall on deaf ears, man.
Mm-hmm.
Practical effects ain't going nowhere. And I'm gonna make sure that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that.
Now, I know you don't like bragging on yourself, but like, can you at least take us to that moment? Maybe the first time when somebody reached out to you that you had very high regard for. Just like, take us back to that moment. What was going on through your mind? How did that feel?
I sent my work to somebody just like on a whim.
Yeah.
Oh, if they get back, cool. If they don't, cool. And when this person got back to me, my heart stopped. I was like, I couldn't even breathe for a second. I was just in complete shock. I was in complete shock, and I was like, whoa, the fact that this person knows that I exist now just like puts everything in a different perspective. And pressure, but I like pressure.
Yeah.
I love it. That last
Drive
3
in it.
seconds on the shot clock. Can he do it? 1 yard to go, you know, because I'm an athlete at heart. So I love that pressure to be, you know, to be able to deliver under any constraint imaginable.
And
But that was
coming
one of
back
the,
to a quote, with which just keeps coming true every time I talk to somebody else like you, is like, greatness comes from having a great idea and not enough time to do it. Like, it just proves.
Because that not enough time to do it, that's the part where you really become what you're known for. You know, like me not having a big studio to work in and having to figure out how to build a clean alien that comes apart like a Zord helps you get through, you know, and helps you build the base of knowledge to help you do all of the things. Yeah, it's like you gotta go through it. It's that Rocky montage, you know?
Yeah.
Where you gotta figure out, you gotta fall off ladders, you gotta break drill bits, you gotta go buy saws, and you gotta go figure out how to do it. But once you go through that, everything else is just, you know, easier.
Yeah.
Not easy, but easier because of what you know.
Yeah, you're gaining all the time, and then that foundation is getting thicker and thicker. But are you taking time to appreciate the fact that you are living the things that you once dreamed of, or do you not even stop and pinch yourself?
You know what? I've been much better about celebrating wins.
Yeah.
I've been better about that. Sometimes I do stop and think like, oh man, damn, that's dope. You know, I'm really doing it. And I look back, but me, I'm so heads down. You know, I sometimes I forget about that, but it's like I'm just trying to be nicer to myself. I'm trying to be nicer to myself nowadays because I can be such a drill sergeant nowadays. Like, this got to be done. X amount of this got to be done. We got to start the sculpting for this, blah, 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 blah. You know, but I demand that of myself because I know I can do it. And I know it's the only way I can work.
Yeah.
And
if someone's going to drive you that hard, at least it's you.
Yeah, it's that drill sergeant, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of like my mother when I was young, you know, instilling that discipline in me, and you know, being able to just like at the drop of a dime get the mission done, and you know, that Mamba mentality, Michael Jordan type of focus, and all of that stuff, which is why I post those on Mondays. Because at the end of the day, you gotta have it. You gotta have that edge. I don't feel like cutting foam sometimes, but you have to.
Otherwise, you're not going to move that needle forward.
Painting. Yeah, I don't feel like painting sometimes, but you have to. So it's more so, it's a lot of the times where the discipline takes over compared to the desire. And that's when you start to see who's who, who's what film is going to, you know.
Damn, I needed to hear that today.
Yeah, it's not about discipline. It's not about feeling creative. You feel creative when you thought of what you wanted to create. Everything after that is just execution.
Discipline. I so lack that. That's like my toxic trait is lack of discipline. And it shows its ugly head so often. But then I like talk to people like you and other geek guests, and I'm like, they're doing it. Like, I know they don't always feel like it, Get off your ass, Boser. Just go get it done.
All you gotta do is just see some of those benefits from it. And once you see enough of those benefits from it, you're like, man, why wasn't I always doing this? And then all of a sudden, you're going to be the super disciplined one telling everybody to be disciplined like me.
When 5 years ago, you were doing nothing. Just kidding.
Now look at you.
Now look at you.
Now look at you. You're great.
You are great, dude. Okay, painter to painter. What do you paint those things with?
Acrylics because they cheap, super cheap, super forgiving.
Yeah.
And super reliable that you're gonna be able to have them too. Like I'm moving over to spray painting this summer for this next to something.
Can spray paints?
Well, when it comes to my bases, a lot of like can spray paints. I do that for like the big base, right?
Yeah.
But also plastic dips too, because a lot of the time those serve as a good base, especially for the xenomorphs that dark, super black. And then I go in with all of the other stuff. But I'm talking about the actually airbrush machine.
Okay.
Not spray paint. Airbrush, I mean.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things.
So much fine detail in that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna have to do a lot with my hands to get in there with little brushes. But it's just so fun to do. I tried one out when I was at Hall, man, and I was like, ooh, I gotta have it. So I'm gonna be adding that to my repertoire of different ways I bring these kids to life.
Just one more skill.
Yeah.
Leaving nothing for the rest of us.
Hey, listen, it's a long life. Y'all got time.
Ideally.
Y'all got time.
Yeah. No, airbrushing is a skill, he said. And that's something that peek behind my curtain. I do a lot of the scenic painting for our sets for our theater. And I love painting and I love the cool kind of shit you can do with it. But I've yet to even delve into airbrushing because that's just completely different. Plus what I'm doing, well, what you're doing too is on a massive scale. I need it to look good from like 100 feet away. But so I'm like, why am I going to airbrush that? No, because people getting close. That's why I have such respect for what you do, because it looks great from afar and from up close. And I love having that 100-foot gap, knowing that people aren't going to come that close. And so I can make all kinds of mistakes. No pressure. But people are getting right up into your work, literally standing inside it, taking photos.
Yeah. And with creatures, it's just one of those things that the paint job and the detail is like, they could be big and monsters and all this other stuff, but if you don't got that paint job and that detail done right, you're not gonna scare nobody, man.
No, and it's like that's cool stuff. Like, how do you make them all look slimy?
Oh, that's just two-part epoxy. So a lot of this slimy stuff, that's window seal wrap that you keep the gust of wind. When the fall, winter come around, you heat it up with a heat gun or a hair dryer and you put it against the wall. Against the window. That's pretty much that stuff, just like held down, stretched, and heated up with a heat gun at about like 800 degrees, and then it makes this webbing effect. But after that, I hit it with a two-part epoxy just to give it that nice shine, but I also coat it and give it a little bit more strength too, because they're going to be taking a beating. They made for display, but they're really made for acting and being alive. So they're going to take a little bit of a beating during some of the shoots. So it's a little extra, layer of protection for them.
Now, the Empress back there, she's going to be featured in your film, yes?
Oh, yes.
Of course. Is she movable?
Yeah. Big old puppet.
No way.
There was a couple pictures that I saw online. I think I forgot to snag them. But I think I got a couple pictures of myself where you could see like the back and I have like a little curtain over it. But basically you could go in her torso and move her arms back and forth and all kinds of stuff. And I got a little area where I could sneak in some rods for her neck turning and things of that nature. So she's a big old puppet, just like all of them. To be honest, they're big old action figure puppets.
Did you like play with puppets as a kid, or is it mostly like you're coming from an action figure kind of standpoint?
Just an
Yeah.
action figure standpoint. But the action figures, right? They teach me all of the articulation
Mm-hmm.
and things I need because when I'm able to play with these, I'm pretty much envisioning how I'm gonna make that neck move and how this arm is gonna, stuff that I've been doing with PVC to make the arms move. But also like with hinges and stuff too, like with the latest alien. That one has just as many points of articulation as this action figure, except for the neck, mainly
Mm-hmm.
because of some of the things that I'm going to be asking that little baby to do
Yeah.
in the movie. So taking those action figures and really being able to extrapolate them out like 30x, 300x that, right? Then you think about how you're going to make it move, what you need it to do, all of the tooling that you need to have inside it, and because you want to be able to make it live, but you also want to make it serviceable as well. Some
Yeah.
hinge come loose, some go wrong. You got to be able to get in there and fix it so the show goes on.
Yeah. You're working from multiple fronts here. Like,
Oh yeah,
T's asking, have you like practiced puppeteering to help give a natural look for the film? Like, have you? Like, I know we know how action figures work and we like playing with them, but like puppeteering is just a completely different monster. So, are you the one like getting
yes,
up in it and like teaching people how to use these?
yes, because a lot of that stuff I try to knock out while building. Before you see any paint, before you see
Yeah.
all of the other stuff, it goes through a stress test, and they got to be able to move in the way that I want them to move
Oh, okay.
before I can like really say, okay, we're done. So I am going to be teaching a lot of people how to make a move, and luckily, they already move well on their own.
Because they're
Just from
well
like being
made.
inside them, and I try, and just like little things, like having like a rod underneath the arm, or invisible string here to make this
Hmm.
happen. And the cool part is, and one of the advantages, because I'm making the film, I already know the storyboards and know exactly what needs to happen. So having that in mind when I'm creating it just gives me a leg up on how to knock it out so quickly.
Okay, so let's touch on that aspect because you've gone from getting really good at making shit to getting really good at making giant shit to making you getting really good at making giant shit that can move. But now in your film, are you're not the ones puppeteering all of those things, right? You need to direct
I got a
others.
team. Yeah, I got a team of people that's helping me out. A lot, actually, the people that was in those flight suits are part of the cast and crew.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So how is it to direct? Because I know for me, I don't direct a lot, but I'm really good at doing things on my own because I know how I want it. But as soon as I have to trust someone else to take my baby and do with it with how I would do it, I'm not so great at that.
For me, directing is easy because of my job. I'm always
Oh
like,
yeah?
as a project manager, you're teaching and you're constantly helping people build new skills and being able to show them the different ways and perspectives on how they could think about things to get the mission done is always key. So, but being able to do that in a creative form is a little bit different.
It's hard.
It's easier, I would say, because it's less technical and it's more about feeling. And considering the fact that I actually wrote the script and know how the movie plays out, it's even easier because I'm able to give them the backstory,
Uh-huh.
able to give them how I'm feeling about it, how I related it to their life, depending on how well we know each other, and
Yeah.
just, a lot of things. Blink twice
So
if I'm in trouble.
no, T is saying he's agreeing with me that no, I am not great at trusting creative liberties over to other people when I can't be in control anymore. I've become a little bit of control freak, but it
Yeah,
sounds like you don't
yeah.
have these issues because you're coming at it from like a human level and connecting with them as human beings. What a weird directing style.
Hey, I want them to react more than act. So I'm very hands off when it comes to that. I mean, like the script is the script, and like being
Is
able to
that
like
hard?
freestyle and it's easy once you. I mean, I've acted and been a model myself before, so I kind of like know how to like approach and think about these things.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest advantages I have. That theater expertise when it comes to like being able to give lines and all this other stuff. And if you think about it, we watch movies and films and all that stuff every day. When it comes down to it, it's just more so about execution.
Yeah. I just keep putting myself in your shoes where like, I don't know, if it was some random theater show, I'd be like, yeah, you do you, your version's going to look different. But if it was my creations that I made all of these things and then it's my movie, I would probably become a direct Zilla. Like no one would work with me. I don't see an ending where I'm not pissing off every single person on that set.
I mean, we work hard. We work super hard. Like we have days where it's a little bit easier. Some days it's a little bit harder,
Yeah.
depending on what I'm asking for. But we always have fun with it. We always have fun with it. And I get it. I'm also like, hey, there's a human element. I love these people, and they are giving me their everything. So
Yeah.
just make sure to keep that in mind.
Well, you're a better man than I is what I'm trying to get at.
I'm
That's
looking
why-
at these comments, treating people with check notes, respect. That can't be right. Nah, that can't be right, DSP.
No, it's crazy. What kind of manager does that? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not the American way.
Mm-mm.
So, what's the timeline? When is this thing going to be done, do you think? What's your goal?
So, 30% completed right now.
Okay.
Minus reshoots. I am looking to present this at a very special convention here in Chicago that's taking place next April.
So we got a year until unveil, let alone, post-production, finishing up the shoot. Do you have anything else you need to build for these or that you're still working on?
Oh yeah, that's always, even
Oh my
like
God.
shoot to shoot.
Yeah.
There's always things that I need to build. But it's just a muscle.
Yeah.
You just keep on doing it. And now that considering the fact that I've established a certain style and look for the film, I know what I could just like hit autopilot on.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And what I really need to focus my attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a good spot. There's a couple things that I'm building right now that will be a huge spoiler, but I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
Gotta see.
You gotta watch the
You
film.
might get a trailer in the fall though.
Okay.
You might get a trailer.
Make sure to tag us when that comes out and we'll share it.
I got you. I'm gonna tag everybody in as many as Instagram and Facebook will let me allow.
T wants to know if we can cameo. We'd even die. We could just get eaten.
I'm probably gonna need some extras.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna need some extras.
Yes. That's a yes.
And yes, you probably gonna have to die. So that's all good.
No take backs.
I got you.
Okay, you know where to find us. Hit us up. And we're not far. We're really not far. A couple hours.
Very true.
Could just take off work that day. Just come out to your house. Hit it up in your backyard.
Get killed by a xenomorph.
Get eated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great day to me.
Mm-hmm.
Clip that for evidence.
Yep, you got it. You got me on camera.
Boom. And the internet is live. You can't take it back. No takesies, backsies.
Not at all.
All right. So we've been living in the alien xenomorph world for a while. You're working on a film. What about I know the way your brain works at this point is you're not just thinking about right now, you're always thinking about what's coming down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to share some future plans beyond the movie? Like, what's the kind of next big thing you're willing to take up?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is just some ideas for my own IP. I got a lot of things that I'm gonna start building probably like as I'm editing the film or just start fleshing out. But I got a couple tributes I want to do, but the biggest is my own IP. So I got some stuff I'm working on. I can't tell you too much about the IP, but
Ah,
as far as the tribute goes, definitely definitely got a Tyler Carlin tribute that I think he would be proud of.
dude, I'm
Yeah.
already envisioning like down the road when they're like, oh my God, it's a TrisRex movie. Oh, hell yeah. I want to see that. It's going to be a blockbuster film. You came out with your own IP. And I know you got some
Speak
fucked
it
up
to
shit in your head.
existence. Yes, I keep fucked up shit in my head. That's one of my biggest weapons is that I'm fucked up. So, you know,
But you
it
hide it
keeps me
so
going.
well. You come across
Yeah,
like such a great guy, well balanced, and
most
yet you're
villains do.
hiding the shit in your head.
Most villains do.
Ah, one day you're going
Hey,
to be
thank you for shouting
controlling
me
all of
out
us.
on the survey. Yeah, I'm gonna be a dictator one day, just leading an army of like rebel monkeys and all kinds of stuff.
Take me.
Yep.
I will serve. I don't even care. I'll be paying in Tris cash one day. Tris bucks.
Yep. I'm gonna have my head on them like this.
Uh-huh.
$5 bills and everything.
Riding on a xenomorph.
Yeah,
No,
man.
can I ask a real question?
Dictatorship.
I mean, I've been asking
Yeah,
real
go for
questions
it.
all night, but like, this is for serious. I want to know. You seem to have a constant wellspring of motivation, and tell me if I'm reading that wrong or what. But it just feels like the more you do what you love to do, the more passion you find for it, and like to be completely perfectly honest, sometimes the more that I dig into a passion, the less excited I am about it because it's no longer like the side thing. It becomes like the main thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then it feels like responsibility. And I'm just like picking apart my own insecurities right now and toxic traits. And so then it feels like work. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to find the mindset that you have. So if you can help me by breaking down what keeps you going, the more you get into it.
The more and more I get into it, the more I need to fulfill the need to keep it innocent. And that's the one thing that I always remind myself of. Like, although yes, I'm getting paid to make things for films nowadays, all kinds of other stuff, but I always want that sandbox for myself to be able to come back to where I could just play and be me, which is why I want to do my own IP. And right now, I'm in my Alien sandbox. Before,
Mm-hmm.
I was in my DC Comics sandbox, you know? And one of the things that you could really do to keep things innocent, which is hard to do, is as soon as you put a dollar amount next to something, it loses its innocence. That's the one thing that I've been wrestling with the studio.
Mm.
So a lot of the things that I might do for other companies or directors, that is the money drivers and things of that nature. But Aliens Resurgence and my DC Comics line, and then the things that come after that, it's all for me, which means it's all for play. So just being able to pick up new skills each project and just like push and push for like those bigger goals. That's the one thing that I've been doing to keep myself fresh too. Cause like there's some things that I'm probably gonna like fall on my face when it comes to like some of the shots that I want to get, especially some like the action shots and things of that nature, just
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I nail it. And it's like, okay, I sucked at something for once. That's
For
what's up.
once. For once.
Take out the for once,
No,
Hey,
I hear what you're saying. I hear
but
what
it's
you're
like,
saying.
okay, cool. That is another side mission that I get to go on and figure things out. Like I can show you some of the before and afters of the way I was shooting certain things in my test shots compared to now. But what a lot of people don't know is for 2 or 3 hours every Saturday I was on YouTube studying cinematography videos and different lenses and things of that other stuff for the past 2 years in progressing, as far as like as we get to the film, completing the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's side quest and just being able to okay, now that I know all of this stuff, I know exactly how to make this set. I know exactly how to make these xenomorphs. I know exactly how to make this marine armor for the time and for the people that I need. And then you get to bring all that together, and then it's like, okay, it's gonna be something else you need to learn, you know?
No, I wrote that down. Keep it innocent.
Yeah, you
And
keep it innocent. That's the thing. But when you're talking about being an artist,
yeah,
keeping it innocent and making money is just like two things that they clash. They
they
clash.
do clash.
One
They
of the ways I'm
clash.
able to um, keep it innocent is I got a day job as well. So I get to kind of like unplug, but I'm still TrisRex at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making things digitally in spreadsheets and dashboards and things of that nature. So I'm always making, so it keeps that muscle warmed up. So
So
when it's
like you're
after
honing your
work,
craft, but you're not relying on this side quest to pay your
hmm
bills. And so it just allows it to still be fun and innocent.
yeah, yeah, because now I could create what I want. I can create what I want. It's not necessarily like, does it bring in revenue? Of course. But having that day job there to be able to do everything I needed to do gives me the freedom on the TrisRex side to say yay or nay, or be able to tackle projects and go down rabbit holes that I really want to, go down. And that's one of the ways that I keep it innocent.
So, okay, can I push you on that? Because
hmm
as you're getting better and getting more attention, I feel like it's inevitable that this work will eventually become an income stream. Like,
Yeah,
is that a fear for you? Is that what you want? Like, and then when that happens, how are you going to navigate it to keep it innocent?
yeah, and that's not a fear for me. That is something that I want. But kind of going back to what I just said, even though when TrisRex Studio becomes that main source of income, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what I'm working on over here, I'm always going to have my places to have fun. And this is where I'm going to do all of my testing, all of my crazy out of the box stuff,
Hmm.
everything that's purely innocent. And I'm going to take all of the things that I learned from over here, right? And then I'm going to bring it to the things that I'm working on for other people. Because when I'm working for other people, I notice that I always like to take myself out of it and really think about them, you know, how to bring their characters to life, what's going to look good for them, and try to learn new tips and tricks along the way when I'm building other people's stuff too. And then I take it back over to that sandbox. So when you think about it, just think about like this sandbox is for play, this sandbox is for money. The only thing that you take between those two is just the techniques and the things that you learn.
But those things that you learn, those techniques are motivating the other sandbox.
Yes, yes. So some of the stuff I learned from making that big movie lizard, right?
Uh-huh.
I took back to my alien sandbox and did a lot of those paint tricks on the new alien,
Hmm.
just to pay homage to my first, actual creature build that I was actually paid to do and all of this other stuff. So it's a never-ending puzzle. So even when the day comes where I have to leave my day job, you know, yeah, it was all part of the plan. Yeah, but you got one of the things that I'm always gonna promise myself. No matter what happens, I gotta have my fun. And some of my heroes do the same thing today. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's how they keep that fire burning because they always had like their little side quests and their little side missions that they work on too.
Yeah, I don't think as as a capitalistic society, we don't put enough emphasis on the importance of fun.
Yeah.
And I'll shout out my mom right now. Like that was something she instilled in me from very early on. My dad and her might have different ideas about how important fun is, but like those of us who see the motivating factor that fun has on learning, on doing the job, on like all kinds of things, it's so vital to keeping this world going, unless we all want to become mindless slugs just doing a job. It's that fun aspect. And I think even in like this channel, sometimes I forget like this is fun. It should be fun. And sometimes I forget to look for different ways that we can push it and become even more fun. And maybe that's where I start to feel bogged down or be like, oh, this feels like work. It's because I'm not looking for the fun. Even I love doing this. Like I love just hanging out and talking to people. But then it's all the other extra work afterward, like editing it and
Yeah. What you got to do to bring that product to life. And sometimes you can forget that it's fun. Sometimes I forget that I'm supposed to have fun. But my wife is like my insurance policy. She's like, hey, dude, you're supposed to be having fun right now. Like, why are you beating yourself up or over this other stuff? Go have fun, do what you do. And then sometimes you just need a break, snap right back to it. And it's like just being in my room, playing with toys and building stuff out of Legos all over again. Except they're just life size now.
Yeah, they're so much bigger.
Life size now.
DSP wants to know if you plan to quit your day job in a spectacular fashion. And I want to know if xenomorphs are going to be involved.
Possibly. It's going to have something to do with me being in a black suit.
Yeah.
With a couple of my friends in the xenomorph costume. And yeah, I'm just going to be like, yep, this time. I'm going to give him this big old long soliloquy.
There you go.
And then I'm going to end it that way and I'm just going to bounce.
Do you have any xenomorphs that like people can fit inside of and like walk around? Like the smaller ones? Oh my god.
Like I said, I still got some things that I'm building right now that I don't know if I can tell you about. But yeah, soon. Because a lot of the xenomorphs you've been seeing now is like category 2s, like Victorian, sentries, things of that nature. But I'm definitely got some drones and warriors. It's just a full, mature xenomorph hive.
Oh my god. Well, I'm going to let you know that's a dream role of mine, is to play some like puppet monster where no one knows it's me. And I wouldn't even tell anybody. I just want the experience. So when you need a puppeteer that day, you call me up, give me the training.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I make it easy too. I make it very easy as far as how like the movements go, and then how I direct some of the trainings, because it's not, and that's the one thing that I feel like I had to kind of get used to is coming from the cosplay world where you on the lights with the big stage, everything gotta be perfect.
Yeah.
Right away. But then for a movie, there's so many different shots and so many things that directors need to happen, where perfect is only perfect from an angle.
Yeah.
And not necessarily from, because there's so many things that need to be accessible when you're talking about big 20-foot puppets.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect is totally different from me now.
And I think that's kind of about life. Like nothing is perfect. Everything's perfect from a certain angle. Like across the board.
Yeah, or perfect for this specific scene.
Or
for this mission. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing about, the cosplay community, that sometimes you get a little too wrapped up in trying to have perfections when it comes to like 1-for-1s and things of this nature. It just takes away from the fun, which is why I always say, have fun with it. Keep it innocent. Got to. You gotta have fun with it.
Got to. All right, so 5 years ago, Tris, to today's Tris, say that you were able to travel back in time. You get in a time machine, a TARDIS, and you step out, and you see 5-year-old or 5 years ago Tris slaving away on one of his first monsters, what are you telling this guy?
Be patient. It all will come. They don't understand you now, but they will soon.
Was that something that you struggled with back then? Like, did you not believe that it would come or that no one would understand?
I feared I wouldn't be understood
Yeah.
if I didn't branch out into like some of the horror community, and that was one of the things that really helped me kind of formulate and come up with who I am and being able to explain myself more. Because cosplay is just where I started.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been into monsters and horror films as a kid, and that's where I kind of recreated my identity. That's like, okay, this is who you truly are. There isn't a lane for you right now. Make it up. Who cares? Find what you love. Make it cool. Other people been waiting for that too. You know what I'm saying? Walking on stage with a Swamp Thing versus, Iron Man's and all the other stuff. Of course, I'm glad that everything happened the way it did because it put a fire in my belly. And now when I'm judging competitions, I'm Five Nights at Freddy's. What's the mushroom zombies from The Last of Us?
Oh, yeah.
Godzilla. I am judging a lot of monsters now. And a lot of people come up and thank me for kicking that door down because when you think about it, horror is where a lot of this stuff began. Latex masks,
Yep.
building foam prosthetics, all this other stuff. So it's just good that I could kind of like shift it back into a direction where like practical effects and people in big armor suits and all this other stuff, and where it originated. And not to say that there's nothing wrong with like all of the other categories, but at the end of the day, I just want to be able to give y'all something. And if I got to be the one to kick down that door and build, 20-foot queen aliens and swamp things and all these other cool creatures to show it can be done, so be it. I just want to make my stuff and have fun. Everything else that comes after it, cool, I'll take it. But I gotta make my stuff because that's my therapy.
Dude, and you're literally doing it. Like, on behalf of all of us in the geek community, those of us that have been watching you for a while, those of us just showed up. Maybe you just met Tris tonight in tonight's Geek Out Sesh. Thank you for doing what you're doing because it's inspiring on so many levels. Like, I'm not out making monsters, but I know how to embrace my inner monster.
Hey,
and like, I do connect it. I like, if I'm facing something hard, sometimes there's been once or twice I'm like, what if Tris was facing this? Like, what would he do? And so I take that spirit with which you attack your projects and I put it towards a fucking spreadsheet, something I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And like, yep. It's really your spirit is the driving force behind all of your monsters, and people can see that in your end work. And I think that's why one reason you are gaining more popularity, as you should, because people can see the heart behind it, and it's quite evident, and it's strong as hell, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's hard looking from the outside in. The looking glass self theory is very true because you never see yourself the way others do. But I really appreciate hearing that. That's something that's good for me to hear, with me always being like heads down and just working. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you like literally seen the growth, like all of the growth too. So it really means a lot.
It's been such an honor to like watch the growth. And I'll never forget what it was 4-5 years ago. C2E2. Yeah, I think you had just stepped off stage, the Swamp Thing.
Yep.
And here we are leaving C2E2, and me and PK are like, oh my God, that's Tris. And as we're walking out, we hear our names. We hear 4 Geeks, by Geeks. We turn around. It's you. You shouted at us? We're like, no, this is backwards. This is back asswards. And from
Yeah,
that day, I'm
man.
like, that is a real stand-up guy, and I want to be in his presence as much as humanly possible. So I'm honored that this is your second time here on the channel. Hopefully not your last.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I'm gonna
definitely
be
the last
back.
time to see you.
Yeah, yeah. We got a lot to do. I'm gonna be very busy for the rest of the summer up until like the winter.
Hmm.
But I will definitely make sure to keep you on top of everything. And like I said, I'm gonna try to get y'all a trailer soon, much sooner than later, because y'all
Okay.
deserve it. Y'all deserve it.
And we'll definitely be watching. I'm gonna be watching with a hawk's eye just to see. Is it today? Is it today? Is it movie done yet?
I'm gonna somewhat like get you prepared for it. I'm not
All
gonna
right.
just drop it out of nowhere, but yeah, it's gonna be much sooner than later.
And T says for sure he's gonna be on the next one. Damn it! Or so help him. It's gonna be better. It's gonna feel better. Everyone, send him some good vibes. He hasn't been feeling
Yeah,
it. He needs it.
feel better.
But thank
Feel
you,
better,
T, for
T.
being there in the chat. I felt like you were here in spirit.
Oh
Always
yeah,
bringing
them
great
papers was
shit to the
gone.
channel. Mhm. And Tris, thanks again, man. Like, I really appreciate what you're doing, and I just appreciate you being our friend. This is great.
Oh yes, oh yes. I appreciate it. It's mutual. Love is mutual, man. Y'all been supporting me since way back then. It's good to be able to look back. Look to the sides. Being able to scroll and still see some of your same folks. Because things are different. Things are different in a good way. But it's
Yeah,
good to
good.
be able to see those familiar faces that was there, rooting you on when, you know, just a contestant.
Well, that's not going to stop. We're going to keep rooting you on until you are you have security outside your hotel room. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are changing, so yeah.
Well deserved. So y'all, if you are watching back live, tell Tris how awesome he is. Or if you're watching this back, please comment below and tag more you can. I'll have the links in the caption below so that you
Oh
can
yeah.
go follow what he's doing. Keep tabs on it. Because if you're not following him on all the socials, then your feed is lacking out. And you just want to see this thing that's he's creating, because literally it's growing and evolving at an exponential speed. And it's all driven behind this guy's creativity and his discipline and his heart. And it's just like you can't help but love supporting it. So please do yourself a favor. Go support it. Links
Much
are there
appreciated.
because I can't wait to see what comes up next for you, dude.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I got some good stuff. Got some good stuff planned, and we just gonna have some fun doing it.
But I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Okay.
Y'all can continue the conversation with Tris on his socials. Um,
Hit me
other
up.
than you can use the link, you can use Command Monster here in Twitch or the links below. But where's the best place for people to support you if they want to?
Yeah, so just at TrisRex on all social media platforms. I see the Nightbot got my link tree. That
Yep.
link tree in the chat will give you everything that I have on the interwebs. So yeah, or at TrisRex on all social media platforms. I'm gonna pop up somewhere at TrisRex or at TrisRex Studio.
Yeah, and that same link is going to be below in YouTube and podcast. So just give it a click, hit the likes and follows on all of those. This guy deserves it. You've made it this far. You know that's true. Just stop wasting time. Go do it.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate it so
But
much.
until next time, thank you guys for joining us. I am Boser.
And I'm TrisRex.
And you just keep
Geeking out.
Bye bye.